What's up, everybody? It's your man's Jam here, back for a jam session on the Journey Across Media podcast. We are on season 2, episode 19. So we are almost in season 3, basically. Today with me, I have two special guests, both friends from the Agents of Fandom. You've seen them so many times already. TJ, how you doing today, brother? Let the people know about your dilemma you got going on.
Yeah, doing very well. Apologies that I got to eat lunch while on the show, so I'll make sure I'm muted when I'm not talking. But I've had a bit of a. Honestly, I'll preface this by saying I'm actually quite thankful with how it has played out. So I am supposed to go to Toronto for this weekend. Once I'm in Toronto, I'm flying to New York. I get to have some of the coolest interviews I've ever had, talking to Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio for the new season of Daredevil Born Again. I'm very thankful I gave myself some buffer time. I was supposed to leave Saturday night, get to Toronto Saturday night. That flight got delayed. I would have missed my connection, so I got rebooked onto something for Sunday morning, which is, still, and where I am, still Sunday morning as we record. And that flight has now gotten delayed 11 more hours. So I'm at 26 hours of delays right now. Thankfully, I'm at home. Like, I went to the airport this morning. I checked in, confirmed that the delays were real because I got the email, but it wasn't actually showing up on the website. And then I just went back home after, got some more sleep. Now I'm just hanging out. But it could have been way worse if I was on. The reason it's delayed is like plane maintenance. And so if we already boarded and I was on the plane and then they were like, actually, we got a delay for the entire day to figure this out, like, that would have just been hell. And so I'm very, very thankful that I'm not in another city on like a connecting flight while this is happening, and I'm just sitting in the comfort of my own home. And luckily gave myself a little bit of buffer. So as long as, knock on wood, fingers crossed, as long as we don't get any more crazy delays, I will still be in Toronto with plenty of time to get to New York for the interviews.
I am so sorry that this is all happening, but at the same time, I'm so grateful because now you're here with me. You're here, you get to be here with me talking about something that we really enjoyed.
I've been jerking you around a little bit because I was like, yep, I'm in. I'll be in Toronto. I'll be at my sister's house. There's good Wi-Fi. I'll just be chilling. I'm in. And then I messaged you and I was like, nah, I'm out. My flight got delayed. Now I'm going to be in the air at the time that you're recording. And then I texted you back minutes before the show started. And I was like, wait, I'm here. Let's do it.
It was perfect. It was perfect time, man. I was grateful. Like I said, I'm sad that that's happening to you, but I'm very grateful because you're here with me, here with us, because Mark's here as well. Mark, this is our first time having you on the pod. It's our first time getting to meet like this. So how are you, my friend? It's so nice to actually meet you.
I know. Likewise, nice to finally see your face. I am fantastic. I am just working through the end of the last few weeks of my hockey season. I'm a youth hockey coach, and we have about 3 weeks left in our season. It's the most stressful time of the season, and so we're getting towards a stretch run here. But in the meantime, very happy to be able to catch up on some of my favorite shows. I'll definitely have a lot more free time once April starts to actually catch up on a lot of the shows that I've missed. But even in my time here where I have not had much free time to myself, I've made sure to sneak in every episode of Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And when we talked about it online on Twitter, I was like, yeah, we got to have you on to talk because this is good. I don't know too many people that like wanted to talk about this. I know a lot of people that watched it, but like that actually wanted to pod and like talk about it. I found it kind of hard to like find people. So I was glad when you wanted to talk about it. So let's get right into it. Actually, no, I have one question for you guys because Mark, this is my first time having you on. So I kind of want to know what other things. I know you said you've been busy and stuff, but I usually like to do a segment kind of like Agents of Fandom does what you're watching. I always ask what you've been nerding out to because we all have like some fandom that we like, get into. And I know you said you've been busy with the hockey stuff, but if you had any other things like games, books that you've been reading, music that you've been listening to, what have you been nerding out to lately?
So a lot of the other Agents of Fandom people know I am a 90s kid, and I, growing up, was a big Power Rangers guy.
Okay.
And I made a point of reading so Boom Studios did a ton of comics in that universe, and they actually just came out with some new comics. They're actually rebooting the franchise in comic form, which of course happens all the time in Marvel and DC, but they're doing it now with Power Rangers. So I'm getting ready to read some of the new comics that they have coming out there. So it's cool to see in comic form some of the shows that you watched growing up. So that's something that I've been nerding out to lately.
Yeah, man. I'm a avid comic reader. I go I don't want to say every Wednesday. I go once a week because sometimes, like I went yesterday, this Saturday while we're recording here. I went Saturday to pick up my comics, and they come out every Wednesday. But I'm with you. It's always nice to see a different medium. Like they're doing a new Ben 10 comic. I love Ben 10 growing up in the night. I mean, I'm a '90s kid, but I had that like early 2000s childhood. So like seeing Ben 10 in a comic book form, I was like, oh, and it's based off of like the absolute universe that's going on in DC right now. I was like, yep, sign me up. TJ, I know you got some.
I wasn't an overly big Power Rangers guy, but even still, I feel like that's one of the most prominent plot lines in my entire childhood is Green Ranger dying, coming back as the White Ranger. Like that is so entrenched in my brain. And I just thought it was so cool. Like I remember playing a Power Rangers game on the Sega Genesis, and I don't remember how you get there, but like you get to a point where you unlock the Green Ranger, and then you get to another point, you unlock the White Ranger. And it was just the coolest thing ever. Because like green was my favorite color. And then all of a sudden when there was a new Power Ranger and he was green, it was just the best thing ever.
I actually didn't grow up on.
We're old. We're old men.
Yep.
I don't. Oh man, I think my first system was that I remember like getting new was the Sega Genesis because I think my mom and my sister already had the NES and something else. I know we had the what was you guys remember the Sega Genesis handheld one? You remember that?
Yes, I forget what
That
it's.
I don't remember what it was called, but yeah. No. The
Different.
Dreamcast was like the one later on in the early 2000s, but they had like a handheld one like in the 90s.
Yeah. I think my cousin had that actually.
It was pretty cool, man. All right. I haven't really been nerding out to anything different since the last time we potted. Still the same anime shows every week. I think the only thing that has came out has been Cross. I might have mentioned that last time too. Trying to think. I gotta look at my watch list because I don't think there's been anything else that I would like. Oh, Paradise. I am bugging. Paradise is out. We've been watching Paradise. We're over at Agents of Fandom talking about it every week on Tuesday. I'll probably do it again. I love that show, so I'll probably do a pod here. Try to have Ryan on and TJ on as well to talk about something we're already talking about. But I think that is it overall. Fire Force is getting close to being over, so I'll have to, write my review on Agents of Fandom. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I've been nerding out to. Oh, I lied. Pokemon. I've been playing a lot more Pokemon. With Legends Z through A.
Did you go Fire Red or Leaf Green?
I haven't bought it yet. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna do it for on my Twitch stream for every Thursday. I'm gonna call it Throwback Thursday.
Nice you know what I'm loving about this game? I'm in Cerulean City right now, and
wait. Who'd you go with?
Charmander.
Whoo! I love that. Okay.
I love all three of the Kanto starters. Like each one individually has a special place in my heart, but not to toot my own horn. I'm somewhat of a Pokemon master. And there is a lot of these in the Kanto game specifically. It obviously changed very quickly, but like somewhat of an idea that the three starters were kind of the like game mode difficulties: easy, medium, hard, Bulbasaur being easy, Squirtle being medium, Charmander being hard, because of specifically the gym badges. You don't get a gym badge that Charmander can do anything on, or until at this point probably Charizard, but until the fourth one. Yep. And even then, there's still not much after that. Whereas Bulbasaur's dominant for all but like 2 or 3, and Squirtle's dominant for all but 2 or 3. And so that's kind of why I went with Charmander. Is I actually want, like, I very specifically wanted the grind of like, okay, I need a Butterfree at level 10 so I can do Confusion against Brock, because I know I'm gonna have a Pikachu.
That's what I was thinking.
I know I'm gonna have a Pikachu prepping for Misty, but he's not gonna be able to do anything on Brock. Charmander can't do anything on Brock, although that's actually not true in Leaf Green Fire Red, because he learns Metal Claw at like level 12 or something like that.
Interesting.
And so you actually can
I don't
have
remember
something
that.
against them there, but so I got myself a Mankey so I could hit him with some low kick. I got myself a Butterfree so I could hit him with a Confusion. And that was kind of my thought process. Is I really wanted that early grind. It's like I knew I wanted my Pikachu and I wanted a challenge against Brock. But that's what I love about these early games is they're kind of hard. You know, like they're not hard in the sense that like, what do I do? This is so difficult. But hard in the sense that like
You got to grind a little bit.
I've faced every single trainer available so far, and I just lost to Misty. She just took me down. Like, that Starmie is tough. And so like you really gotta work to build these up. You gotta build a good team. And so I'm enjoying it a lot so far. Like everything just came out so perfect timing, where Pokemon Leaf Green Fire Red just came out for this. I thought I was going to be doing a lot of traveling, gone for a large period of time, and now it actually, pardon me, I got the hiccups. Now it actually just seems like it's going to be a really quick get there, get home type of trip. But I thought I was going to have lots of traveling, and I got the new Pokemon game that just came out, a new Roku book in the Avatar Last Airbender universe that just got added to audiobook on the 28th. And then like some new podcasts I wanted to listen to. I'm also deep in Game of Thrones right now. I got some Invincible screeners I haven't watched yet. And so much content I can catch up on and just fun stuff to play and do while stuck on a plane. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on. I mean, I haven't been nerding out to much besides the same stuff, but I had to mention Pokemon because not this past long ago, we got Pokemon Day and it was absolutely amazing. So had to highlight my Legend Z through A playthrough. As TJ said, I'm probably gonna be playing. I don't know if I'm gonna do Fire Red or Leaf Green. I'm thinking I'm gonna do Fire Red though, but I'm not sure. And also usually go Charmander just because it's one of my favorite starters. So but I'll be doing that every Thursday on stream, on Twitch stream, playing that every Thursday. But let's get into it now, man. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about, and that is a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. TJ, you just kind of mentioned it, so I'm gonna throw this right back to you. Where did you start? I already know, but I need the people to know. Where did you start your Game of Thrones experience? What made you start it? And where are you in your Game of Thrones journey?
So I had not seen a single thing Game of Thrones related as of 3 weeks ago. And why I got into A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms was kind of two-part. I decided to start with that because I knew Game of Thrones would probably be in my wheelhouse, but I didn't really start thinking like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to binge it until season 8. And everybody was so disappointed that I kind of lost my motivation. And so it was always something like, hey, I know I'll get to it eventually, but I'm not really in a hurry. It's a big commitment. I don't know if I have time for that. And so about 3 weeks ago, I was super sick. Could barely get out of bed. Like, I'm probably just being a baby. Like, I don't think I would. Nothing was that wrong. It was just a bad cold. It was a bad cold. I didn't want to do anything. I had a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms screeners, and I was thinking, like, I'm a big podcast guy. I love listening to podcasts, and two of my favorites, both on the Ringer Network, the Ringerverse, and House of R, were basically only covering A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and nothing else. And so I didn't really have my usual like queue of things to listen to. And so I thought, okay, I'm sick. I got nothing to do. Let's dive into Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. It's a prequel. I don't have to have seen Game of Thrones to see it, especially because like I know just being in the zeitgeist, I know of most of the Game of Thrones things. Like I know who the Targaryens are, I know who the Starks are, I know who the Lannisters are, and so I just had I had a basic understanding of the universe, and I really really enjoyed the whole series. I had all 6 episodes, so I just binged it start to finish. I absolutely loved it, and I was still sick at the time it was done, and so I was like, fuck it, Game of Thrones, let's do it. And I binged all of Game of Thrones in 2 weeks. I have now seen the entirety of the series. I got one big major spoiler hit for me while I was watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and so spoiler alert for Game of Thrones. If you have not seen all of Game of Thrones yet, hit a mute for just like 10 seconds. But I was listening to a podcast and for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and they dropped that Jon Snow is a Targaryen. And I had no idea of this prior to watching the series, and I thought, okay, I don't want to get spoiled anymore. Let's just do it. Let's watch. So I hit pause on that podcast, and I watched all of Game of Thrones in 2 weeks, and then I returned to that podcast for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms immediately after, and I was locked in. I am now on House of the Dragon, season 1, episode 10, and so I'm on the finale, and I will be starting season 2 sometime on this time that I'm traveling.
That's what I like to hear, man. My Game of Thrones journey and experience is pretty similar. I um I started like last year or two, what year? Whenever House of the Dragon season 2 was going to come out, I was like, all right, fuck it. Like I gotta catch up now because everybody's talking about it in my fandom spaces. It's time. So I binged with my lady. We watched all of Game of Thrones, I want to say, in about a month time. And then we watched like House of the Dragon in like a week or something like that. And I wound up loving it. I mean, she loves Lord of the Rings and things like that. I like medieval stuff. I'm not like I like fantasy things, like medieval, but I like fantasy. And Game of Thrones is very political as well, so it plays like this nice fine line of like, and then it's just really freaking good television. So it kind of just got me in all those aspects, and I fell in love with the universe. I need Game of Thrones everything now. Like I want to read the books. I want a video game. I want
A big canonical open world video game would be so
oh
fun.
my god. Like I need a video game. I need books. I need to read the books. I want a video game. Like it's just a good world to be in. I was even thinking about playing the little game on the app every time the Knights of the Seven Kingdoms show was started, it was show you the app that like, whatever. But that is my journey. Mark, let us know where you started with Game of Thrones and your experience.
Absolutely. So first of all, just a warning: if you're gonna become a book person, you're gonna
It's very
soon
different.
become. You're gonna be well, no, well that too, but you're gonna become someone who immediately gets frustrated by the fact that George R. R. Martin is never gonna finish these damn things.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna read everything voraciously, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna be like, why is this guy not finishing these? I want to know what happens next. Like, why are you not finishing Winds of Winter? Like, so you're going to get very frustrated.
I've restarted myself as a book guy this year. I have completed 5 books so far in 2026, and I'm gonna have 2 ongoing: Project Hail Mary and the next Roku book in the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, started up in the next couple days here. I think my next venture is going to be Percy Jackson and go Titan's Curse on and just kind of like get ahead of the
show.
TV show a little bit. But I was also considering the Duncan Egg novellas.
Yeah, and I mean it's all great stuff, and you're just going to be frustrated. Like, okay, why is this not complete? Give me more. Like, finish all the stuff. But so similar to you guys, I did not start the series when it first began airing. I did, however, start watching before the end of its run. So
Okay.
for whatever reason, I just never started. I remember the series premiered during either my junior or senior year of college, and I was living in an off-campus house, and we had HBO there, and a couple of my roommates would watch it every week. And I do remember specifically watching like one scene, and I was like, okay, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if that was. I was just in a certain mood or whatever, because years later, when I eventually did pick it up, I of course was hooked right away. But when you watch one scene out of context, that also that can be different. But in the years before I started to watch it, people, when you have a great Sunday night HBO show, like everyone stops what they're doing, they watch, they're reacting on social media. So I would have different plot points, spoiled for me. But as someone who didn't watch the show, I was like, oh, okay, this
You're
guy,
in one ear, out the other.
Yep.
yeah,
Same, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That same thing. I had so many things spoiled for me over the years, but I didn't remember any of them. The only reason I remembered the one that kind of was the catalyst for me was because I was like in it, having just watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms, thinking about Game of Thrones. That was like, I actually think I had already started it, but like slower. And that was the one where it's like, hey, I'm done listening to anything else. I'm done looking at anything Game of Thrones related. I'm just going to watch this all, and then I'm going to get back to it.
Mm.
yeah,
Which is obviously a lot easier when it's not ongoing anymore.
exactly. But I remember seeing the clip being spread like wildfire online when Jon Snow is resurrected, and you see his eyes open, and I'm just like, oh, I guess people like this guy. I don't know. Like at the time, I'm just like, oh, this seems like an important plot point for a show I don't watch. But I eventually started watching towards the end of season 6, and so similar to you guys, I binged everything that was available within a week or two. I was cranking through episodes. I was hooked. And then was stuck on the regular wait, like everyone, for the remaining 2 seasons, and went through the great buildup, and then just being ultimately disappointed by the final season. Some people enjoyed it. I was not one of those people. I was a bit underwhelmed. But when the show did end, and then we had a little bit of a grace period before House of the Dragon started, I was like, okay, a prequel series, I think I'm going to be interested in this. It's about the Targaryens, great. So I get into that, and I was hooked right away. I loved season 1. I didn't like season 2 as much, but it was still enjoyable for me. People who follow me on Twitter would probably remember I would drop character power rankings after every episode. So after every episode, I would always be like, all right, I'm moving Rhaenyra up 2 spots. Strong episode from her. Larys strong. You cannot drop him far enough down the rankings. So
I just got to the point where he's secretly jorking it to the Queen's feet. That's where I was. That's where I hit pause right before coming down here.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. So there is not a spot low enough on my power rankings list for him.
There's a lot of jorking it in that show.
Yeah,
going out a window. Supposed future king going out a window. Wild show. It started losing me a little bit with the first time jump. Like, I was really enjoying Millie Alcock as Rhaenyra, and as soon as part of that is just because of Supergirl coming this year, I was just so excited to see her in something else. But I'm still enjoying it. But it's definitely my third favorite of the 3 series.
Yeah, I would agree. And so that's. And then, as someone who was watching that as it was airing, a lot of us were pissed with the how soon the time jump was. I feel like you could have given us a few more episodes before you went through the time jump, because everyone was really loving Millie. And I'm blanking on the name of the actress who played young Alicent, but it was like they were excellent in those roles. You could have given them some more time, but. Ever since I first started watching around the end of season 6 of Game of Thrones, I have been hooked into this franchise, and I've read the material, and it is interesting to read the differences between the books and seeing the shows. But I appreciate adaptation. Like, I don't want something to be just ripped right from the page with no differences, because then it's boring. You want to see things that are different. Like, okay,
freedom
I don't
too.
like they adapted it this way. Oh, actually, I like this. Like, I like when things were adapted, because you can react. If you're just getting a carbon copy of what you read, sometimes it's not the same.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that as well. That's how I feel about comic books a lot of times, like seeing stuff being adapted in live action. I don't need it to be exactly the same. As long as the essence of the books are there, That's really all I care about, you know what I mean? And sometimes we get really cool panels, but live action visual shots of it, like, what more can I and cool accurate suits, I'm like, what else do I care about? Um,
I think one of the shows that has done that so perfectly in the last couple of years has been Percy Jackson, where
yeah,
everything that's new that they've added has been great for the story. And I think it was so interesting when you hear like an interview with Rick Riordan and he was talking about like, I'm a better writer now than when I started this series. Like I started this series a really long time ago. I didn't really know what I was doing yet. I do now. And so these changes I make are gonna make the story better. And they really
mhm.
have. They really, really have. And I can't wait I do think there's time and place for changes and alterations in time and place for like faithful adaptation. Like I think Project Hail Mary is one where based on the early reviews, it sounds like they're like just going beat by beat. This is the book. And the book is so great. And just being about space and being about space travel and aliens, the visuals are really all you need to make it a like to change it. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's going to be cool enough. You may as well just keep the source material. And so I do think there's, it depends on what is being thrown out, but uh I kind of feel like they never used to ever get it right. And these days it's been getting right a lot more often than it used to with book adaptations.
I think a lot of the time it's also because it used to be like no creative freedom from directors or writers, or it's just studio execs. Whereas
Mhm.
now they're like allowing a lot more creative freedom. And I think we see that in House to like to Mark's point in House of Dragons season 2, like they didn't really have George R. R. Martin on the set for
Because he
season
was
2.
pissed. He was like, screw this, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got this new show, A Knights of the Seven Kingdom, and this I like to describe this as like a Game of Thrones comedy. I think it is that's just what it is. It almost feels like a Game of Thrones sitcom, but it's not a sitcom, right? Like because all of the beats, even after something serious happens, like you kind of have like something right after something silly, or like whether if it's maybe it's not something silly happening, but it's like a joke being told, or like just like think dry humor, whatever, but it's humorous throughout the whole show. I wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys feel? Mark, I'll throw it back to you first. What did you feel about having a game like, having how do you feel about this? Like, having a Game of Thrones comedy? I think it worked. I really do think it worked.
I think it worked too. It was something I didn't know that I needed until we got it. The fact that we were getting flashbacks, like almost Family Guy style cutaways to like a past event, like that floored me. I'm like, oh wow, they're completely deviating from the way that either of the other two series has been styled, which was cool to me. The fact that you were getting humor, dry humor, that was really appealing to me. Just characters that had kind of more refreshing dialogue and less dry. That was great. So it legitimately felt like, okay, wow. And the fact that the episode length is also a little bit shorter. They're keeping it short and sweet. There's not a ton of filler either. Everything is vital to what you want to learn about these
Mhm.
characters, and it's been very refreshing. It's a cool take. That's not to say that I don't appreciate the format of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, but it's nice to have a little bit of a, instead of a very intense episode where you're kind of gripping the side of your seat and kind of in suspense. You're getting to just kind of enjoy these characters. They're all flawed. The Targaryens are all dickheads.
Hmm.
You get to have this kind of cool view of it, and it was something that I was not expecting it to be this when it was announced.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was no hint of it being any sort of comedic themed, but it worked. It worked so well, and to the point where I'm like, I need more of this. 6 episodes was not enough for me.
Yeah, TJ, I wanna ask you because since we're both, like, kinda new to Game of Thrones, I feel like I agree with everything Mark said. I think pacing, writing, because all of that is something that you have a big issue with, you mentioned a lot, which is how short these seasons are, or how short television is nowadays. and then we get 6 episodes, and they're only, like, 25 to 27-minute episodes based off of how long the end credits are. What did you think about the writing, pacing, and then as well as I've asked Mark, the comedy, and does it work for you?
Yeah, my biggest, like, just in general, the reason, like, the biggest part of streaming that I hate these days is like television used to be 20 plus episodes. And so we could have filler, we could have side quests
Mhm.
because there's time for it. You have all the time in the world. I want to see these two silly characters go off and do something that has nothing to do with the plot because that's fun. But I don't really want that in 8 episodes because in that limited amount of time, I want my plot. I want my story because that's all
Agreed.
there's really time for.
Yep.
And it works so well with the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I think, just because it's the adaptation of a novella. It's a tiny little book, right? It's not some big chonky novel.
Yep.
It's just a little piece, and they are saying, hey, this is beloved. Let's just get it out there. And the reason I think it's one, because it's short and it's a prequel, and you don't have to have seen Game of Thrones to watch it. But I think the biggest reason why this show is so accessible is, yes, Game of Thrones has has multiple characters that you will really, really like. Half of them are gonna die. House of the Dragon, you're probably gonna have none. You know what I mean? Like, I started episode 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, I really like Rhaenyra. She's awesome. Millie Alcock is great. By the end of the first season, I don't give a damn about her anymore. She sucks. From first episode, I was like, wow, this Kristen Cole guy, he is handsome. He's good with the sword. This guy's cool. No, he's an asshole. And so, like, there's no one you're gonna like in House of the Dragon. While in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, from like a premise and story style standpoint, is nothing at all similar to Wonder Man, it's the same type of show where you have, I don't really care what happens. I'm in love with the two main characters and the chemistry that they have together. They can just go do shit and I'm going to enjoy it. And then, oh, the story's good too. Okay, this is a really good show. Like, it's about the incredible chemistry and heartfelt emotion that the two main characters bring. And, with Dunk, I don't know that, like, where it differs from Wonder Man is it's like, okay, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Sir Ben Kingsley, they're both just such incredible actors that they just can go out there and cook. With this, I don't know that necessarily Peter Claffey is an incredible actor. I just think he's a perfect Dunk. I think he's just like, he makes a really, really good Dunk. And young Dexter is doing just a beautifully great job as Egg, and they have perfect chemistry together. And so that is enough to be a good show. And then you add a really good story from a beloved novella within it, and that's kind of the secret sauce. So while I'm not typically a fan of the 6-episode format, the 8-episode format, I do think because of the source material that they're adapting, it does work really well here.
Yeah, I agree. And you brought it up, something I wanted to talk about. It kind of is a great segue. Dunk and Egg's chemistry. I think this is something I seen online that the showrunner wanted to do, and he's like, I want to do like the childhood of Egg, then come back 10 years later and do like the teenage life of Egg, then come back 10 years later and do the adult life of Egg, and it'll take like be their whole lifetime, and then it'll be mine. I think just having these two actors age within this role would be fun.
Yeah,
It
I
would be
don't think
good.
I don't think you can time jump this anymore because of how good Dexter is as Egg.
Yeah, you just leave them the way it is. Their chemistry is so great. It's so great. Mark, what do you think about the chemistry between these two?
Oh, they work so well together. And I also I would be remiss if I don't point out that there's a lot of good chemistry between the side characters as well. Lionel
Yeah.
Baratheon is my favorite. He's my
So
favorite character in
awesome.
the whole show.
He's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac light looking guy, and he is just so fun.
He
It's
really
so
is.
good. There's a lot of great standout characters in this series. Like overall, TJ, do you have a favorite? I know Mark just mentioned his. Do you have a favorite?
It's Lionel for me for sure.
It's Lionel.
I do think it's really fun that after seeing this and then seeing Game of Thrones right after, Raymond Fossaway is basically just Pod 2.0. Like that's Pod right there. And so that's kind of fun. But yeah, no, it's definitely Lionel for me as well. He is just hilarious. Did you guys see the behind the scenes where the actor who plays Lionel Baratheon is like,
Oh, Egg doesn't like cursing. The kid that plays
he's
Egg.
like, he's like, I feel bad swearing in front of this kid all the time, but I guess I got to do it. Like it's in the lines, and he doesn't really seem to mind. And then it cuts right to Dexter, and he's like, I don't like cursing at all, but it's my job, so I have to do it. It was just so adorable.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's so many great standouts. Lionel is one of mine for sure. I actually really loved the Targaryen, the dark-haired Targaryen guy. What was his name?
Baylor.
Baylor. Loved Baylor. He went. Loved Baylor.
He
Absolutely
certainly
loved.
looked to be among the most honorable Targaryens that we have seen.
Those are my probably my top three. Top I guess top four is Dunk, Egg, Lionel, and Baylor. But I mean, there was still so many other great ones. Like well, who was Pod? Pod was the guy that became knighted. He was the guy's cousin.
Yeah, Raymond Fossaway is the guy's cousin.
Right.
He reminds me of Pod, who was Tyrion's squire, followed by Brienne's squire.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, this man, so many good characters and actors in these roles. I know that this season ended, right? So we'll get into that as well. But throughout this season, we have a short time, as TJ talked about. But that episode 5 ranked as one of the highest Game of Thrones franchise episodes ever. It's really high. I mean, on IMDb, it got what was it? Something crazy on Rotten Tomatoes. Was it Rotten Tomatoes? No, it might have just been IMDb, right? It was like 9.9.
Yeah, I think it was IMDb.
It was IMDb. It got a 9.9. I want to ask you guys, TJ, I'll throw it right back to you. When you seen this episode, I could specifically say one part that I knew was gonna be like this is one of the best episodes I've ever saw. Did you have a moment like that when you were watching this episode?
Yes and no. I'm actually not quite as high on episode 5 as most people. Now, I don't think it was bad by any means. I think it was very good
Hot take
of TV. It's a personal problem. I have like a pet peeve that I hate when they set us up with a big cliffhanger and then cut off the momentum and take us to a flashback or something somewhat like related but not totally related. And so I was watching this episode. I watched episode 5 right after episode 4 because I was watching them on screeners, and so I was all hyped up like battle's about to start. Episode 5 is the battle. Let's go. And then it started with the flashback, and so I was like, come on. And it kind of took me out of it a little bit. Having said that, when we get to the battle, it's absolutely incredible. The flashback is obviously crucial to Dunk's story. I did not think it was bad by any means. It just wasn't like best episode of television I've ever seen level of kind of storytelling for me. I thought it was very, very good, specifically the second half. And I think, full spoiler mode, I think the part where that really solidified it is like, oh shit, is Baylor turning around realizing his head's not there anymore. But yeah, I thought it was very good, but I didn't think it was an all-timer.
That is wild to me because I actually feel like, for me personally, 4 and 5 are all-timers. And I feel like they're like such a complete set. Those 2 episodes are like a complete set. I knew I was watching godlike television. That's what I call like the best tier of television, like S tier, high tier, whatever. Peak absolute cinema. I knew I was watching absolute cinema in episode 4 when he walks out onto the field and it does like this pan around his head like that way.
Well, I think that was a better moment than anything in 5.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm about to get to what I think my best moment in 5 is. But I told my lady as soon as that happened, I said, I think this is visually some of the best Game of Thrones has ever looked. She said, really? She looked at me. She was like, really? I said, it might be recency bias, but I genuinely think the cinematography in this show is some of the best of Game of Thrones ever. And she was like, sit with that. Like basically telling me just think on it. And I still, now that we're potting, I still feel like that. And then we get to episode 5, and the scene as soon as the fight starts and he gets hit twice and it goes through the lens of looking through his helmet, and you can not really see anything but the little bit of light in the middle and the slits on on the forehead. Absolute cinema. And it's not like it's not something we haven't seen before, right? But I think it was such a well-panned shot from what we were getting in action. It was such like a great action sequence. And I'm you know me, TJ. I love great action sequences. That's when I knew. I said, this is some of the greatest television I've ever felt. Mark, how about you? Did you have a moment, or are you more so like TJ, where it wasn't that great of that television?
So I loved episode
Great of all
5.
time, I should say. Rephrase that. I don't want to say what TJ said. It's not great television.
It sucks. I hated it.
It's not the greatest. Like, it's not up there. That's what I mean.
It's up there with one of my favorite episodes of the franchise as a whole. And it took until the very end to get me there. It was like a slow build, but so what? For someone who watches TV or just movies, content in general, like I do, I don't always just want to have the fuzzy, happy, feel good ending. And obviously, we know, okay, Dunk and Egg, there's going to be a season 2. Dunk is going to win the trial of 7. Like he's going to emerge victorious from this. He's not going to die. There has to be some form of conflict. There has to be some pain besides physical pain inflicted onto him that's going to loom over this victory. It's not going to be a feel-good victory for him. Where is it? And it emerges in, okay, so Baylor has decided to fight for him. They are victorious, and he pledges fealty to Baylor. He's like, okay, this is going to be my mentor now. I had a mentor. I lost that person. And it starts with the flashback at the start of the episode, his friend Rafe. He loses his friend there. Tragedy follows this guy wherever he goes. He is a well-meaning person who bad things continue to happen to him. And he emerges victorious. The gods are shining upon him because he wins the trial of 7. He now has someone in his life who he's going to pledge fealty to, and then he loses him too. So it was at that point when Baylor, like you said, half his head was missing when he removes his helmet. When he's gone, I'm like, okay, it's this theme of pain and loss, and how is this character going to move on? That's when it sold to me. Okay, I love that they didn't just give him this warm, happy ending, and obviously it's based off the novellas as well. So you knew that this was coming, but it's great to see it play out this way, and it sets the stage for, okay, well, how is he going to move on? How are Dunk and Egg going to continue to be a duo? When you see in the finale that obviously his father is against that in the way that they're trying to do it. So it's just that's what really solidified it for me is, okay, where is the twist going to be? Where is the pain going to be inflicted? And that's where it was. And I like that theme because this is a well-meaning person in an unfair world who has unfair things happen to him.
That was depicted so well in the scene with Maekar as well. I believe it was in the finale where Maekar saying, like, for the rest of my life, everyone is going to think I did this on purpose. Everyone is going to think I tried to usurp my brother. And then Dunk was like, everybody is going to blame me too. Everyone is going to think this was my fault. And then Maekar's like, yeah, oh yeah, it's not just me. It's you too, buddy. It's both of us now. And then to your point, Mark, of how it ended with Egg joining him and against Maekar's wishes and basically sneaking out. Jam, that was just straight up Toph. That was Toph joining the gang. That was Toph joining the gang. And her dad being like, wait, where the hell did she go? We got to send people after her. That was just like, done.
I love that shot of them walking away. And then Sir Arlen walking behind them and then veering off to the left. I thought that was so well executed. It was kind of like a Jedi Star Wars The Force moment. It felt like. I thought it was some of the best thing. I mean, the episode 4, 5, and 6 are really great, right? Like 6 has its some funny moments where he's like, "This man is going to die," and he just stands up. He's like, "No, he's not. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, you witch." I think things like that is hilarious, right? It's so well, especially after such a climactic battle that at the end of the last episode, Sir Balin's head is gone, right? Then we get some humor at the beginning of this. I think all of that is done really well. But another highlight I wanted to mention that I felt like some of the best Game of Thrones for me in these episodes
Sir
was
Arlen's dick.
no, was when freaking Balin comes on. I will fight with Sir Dunk, and he walked and it plays the Game of Thrones music, and he comes riding the horse. I said, "This is so great. This is so great." Right? I thought that was great. I thought the moment Sir Dunk basically died, right? He basically died, and Sir Arlen was like, "Get up," while Egg was also yelling, "Get up," and he like Sir Arlen basically willed him back to life because he was dead. I thought that is another moment when I said this is peak television, and then it leads into
Now, was that Sir Arwen, or was that the father?
the father.
Yeah, like the seven gods. I've seen some really cool gods really cool theories that each of the seven gods show up through this series, and like
Interesting.
it's the crone when is the woman who gives them their fortune and says Egg is going to be king and die in a fire, and everyone and worms will feast on his ashes, and everyone who knows him will cheer. And then to me, that would be when the father appears, is making sure Dunk doesn't die in the in the in a vision of being his adopted, like, grow up father.
I can see that. I can see that. My lady asked me, she was like, "Was that? Do you think it was Dunk, or I mean, do you think it was Egg or Sir Arlen that willed him back to life?" Because Egg was yelling on the sidelines too. I said, "I don't think it was Egg. I thought it was Sir Arlen." But I like this theory. This is an interesting theory. Which I guess it kind of brings me to my next question for y'all because again that was like my highlights right there was those 3 or 4 moments that we've all loved. And I think it's some again to me it's some peak television. I think it's some all timer. But again, Game of Thrones has like all time moments as well, so it's really hard when you compare stuff like that. You got The Sopranos, you got The Wire, you got really good television in history. You know what I mean? Um,
I want to say too, like, two of my highlights of this series actually didn't happen in this series, but it made it so interesting watching Game of Thrones after the fact
mm,
and finding out this silly little guy, Sir Duncan the Tall, I mean, silly big guy, but you know what I mean, has more pages written about him in the Book of the Kingsguard than anyone else in history. He has 4 full pages of Sir Duncan the Tall and how great of a knight he was. Jaime Lannister has half a page until Brienne fills it in. And it's like, that to me is so like, hearing that was so cool of like, oh, he's him. And we're
him
going
is
to
the
see Dunk start from, is he even really a knight? Did he
that's my
ever
question.
really get knighted?
That's my
He's just a
question.
good, honorable guy to being the greatest knight in the history of the Seven Kingdoms. That to me is really fascinating. And then also Maester Aemon with the Night's Watch, the Grand Maester Aemon, who is Egg's older brother. And we find out that, like, they were best friends, right? Egg didn't really like his other 2 brothers, but Maester Aemon, that was his guy until he left. That's who
That was his
nicknamed
cousin, I
him
thought.
Egg. Brother.
That
His
was his
brother,
brother?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not in this show yet because he's
Yeah, he hasn't been introduced yet.
Yeah. But he's the one who named Egg. He's the one who called Aegon Egg, and that's how that nickname stuck. They were best buddies, and then he dies, spoiler, in Game of Thrones, and he's saying, like, Egg, I had this terrible dream that I became old. And, like, he's reflecting back on the times with Egg in childhood. And I just find that so fascinating that that to me enhanced the Night of the Kingdoms even more and got me more excited for it, seeing the connections to the Game of Thrones world and knowing that Sir Duncan the Tall is about to become a badass of badasses.
And so you brought up the great question: is was he was Dunk ever knighted? Was Dunk actually knighted? Now in the books they make it clear, or apparently in the books they don't make it clear. Excuse me. It's also like up
For
for
interpretation.
interpretation, but here they kind of talked about it. The showrunner mentioned it. They wanted to do the same. Like it's up to you. So that's my question: is TJ? Do you feel like Dunk was really knighted, or
I don't think he was.
you don't think he was?
I don't think he was.
What about you, Mark? You
I don't
think he
think it
was knighted?
matters, but I don't think he was.
So I mean, the flashback, or I don't even want to say it's a flashback. It's more current Dunk talking to a past version, still alive version of Sir Arlen, in his mind, asking, why you never knighted me? Did you think I was going to leave? So that leads me to believe that he was never actually knighted, which they kind of hint at all along, where he's kind of sketchy about how how he was knighted by Sir Arlen before he passed. Like the details were always sketchy, which always led to me to believe, all right, this guy's lying about actually being a hedge knight. He was just a squire who may have gotten some training and some experience, but was never actually knighted. So I don't think he ever was knighted, but I think he has been knighted by experience. Like, he doesn't have the title. The title's not been bestowed upon him by anyone, but I think that he's going to become a knight in the true sense of the word, because they mention, a knight is someone who who does the right thing. Yeah, who protects the innocent. That's what he's been doing. So he has been knighted by his actions, even if he has not been given the title.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, he was trained to be a knight at the end of the day. We don't know why Sir Arlen didn't knight him, but he was in the. I mean, they talk about it. He was in the fields while Sir Arlen was there. Yes, he's his squire, but he was also fighting because he was so freaking big, right? They also kind of give a nice hint to it when he's supposed to knight what's his name? The kid again?
Raymond, yeah.
Raymond. But he doesn't knight him. And a lot of the theories I've seen online was just because he didn't know the oath to knight somebody. So I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so that kind of
I think it works a lot better if he has never been knighted, because Dunk's whole thing is the whole story is about what is a true knight. And for Dunk, he learned from Sir Arwen that the hedge knight is the truest form of knight, because they don't fight for a house. They fight for only causes they believe in. They fight for the causes that they want to fight for. They protect the innocent. And above all else, that is what being a knight is. And we see like the totally contrasted Aryan on the other side, where for him, it's just all about being a Targaryen and being the dragon and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think it works best for Dunk not being a traditional knight right off the rip, because he shows that there are more important aspects of being a knight than, the guy who runs the whole knight tournament is trying to rig it with gambling. And so I think it's just basically like a Ahsoka Tano-esque situation, where is Ahsoka Tano a Jedi? Well, she's not a member of the Jedi Order. She left because of how corrupt it was. Could it be argued that no one embodies what it truly means to be a Jedi more than Ahsoka Tano? You could argue that. And so I that's kind of how I feel about Dunk's story as well. Of, is he legally a knight? Did somebody swear him in? No. Is he more of a knight than all of the actual knights? Yeah, he is.
you brought up a really good point that just made me like go into my head about Ahsoka. Like, I could argue that Ahsoka is the truer form of the Jedi more than Luke, but I'm not going to do that today. We're not here to argue.
Tano and Kanan and Jarrus are the two best examples of what it truly means to be a Jedi.
That's a separate pod. We need to have that pod conversation. Actually, we need to have that on a pod conversation. But we get to the end, as we talked about, and they split off. And Dunk and Egg have this joke I don't even. It's not really even a joke. It's just a conversation. He's like, yeah, so we're gonna go. We can go wherever in the 7 realms. And Egg is like, there's 9 realms. And Dunk is like, no. He's like, there's 7. He's like, the saying goes the 7 realms. And then Egg names all of them. And it's like, oh shit, there's 9 kingdoms. And then we get the title card, So Fire, a Knight of the 7 Kingdoms. It was very reminiscent to when Falcon and the Winter Soldier ends and it says Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Peak. Peak. Loved it, absolutely loved it. And so I want to ask you guys, do you think the next season they'll even consider it another season, or will they start a new show calling it A Knight of the 9 Kingdoms? TJ, what do you think?
No, I think it'll still be 7 because even though there are 9 realms, they only reign over 7 of them. The Targaryens only reign over 7 because the others are like the priest cities and such. And so no, I think it'll just be Night of the 7 Kingdoms season 2 because that was just to me more of Egg correcting Dunk like he had been the whole time, of like just kind of Egg showing like, even though I respect you, sir, you're a little bit of an idiot, and I'm gonna correct you when you say things foolishly.
Mark, what do you think? You think TJ's on the money with? I agree with TJ. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree completely. It's good to because they point out again. Makar points out, hey, you still have a lot to learn, man. To Dunk when they're parting ways, and he said, yeah, I do. And so it's just another reminder, like, hey, he has a lot to learn. He doesn't even know geography very well. So, yeah, I think that it's a good reminder. But yeah, I think that season 2 will be the same title.
Same title. Do they start? Wait, was the end of this season? Was this episode 6 titled "A Knight of the 9 Kingdoms"?
No,
Because
it
they could
was
easily could easily just call episode one in season 2 "A Knight of the 9 Kingdoms" just for fun, But again, to your point, they only the Targaryens only reign over the 7 kingdoms. It's interesting, man. You guys
If
have
I'm not
any?
mistaken, there are 9 realms but 7 kingdoms.
I think it's no. I think you're right. I think it's only because they reign over
Yeah,
those 7, right? Like it's pretty interesting. I don't have any like big theories besides the fact where they're gonna get into some new adventure. Like to me now, it's on some like Mandalorian and Grogu thing, right? Where it's just like guy and a kid, and they're gonna have some journey that's gonna be contained to that first season. I mean, contained to that season 2. But the overarching issue will be, well, now Egg's dad is gonna be sending knights and stuff to look for them and stuff like that. So I guess it's what I'm really trying to figure out is how does the story of, to TJ's point, how does the story of Sir Dunk being him come about? Like, because that has to not just happen within the communities of like the people, right? That has to happen within the kingdoms, and the royal families also have to accept him as being him. So I
that
want to know
story
how.
doesn't even start until he's the head of the Kingsguard, right? Like that, those 4 pages doesn't even start until, spoilers, Aegon becomes king. So
That's what I'm saying. I need to see how do we. I want to. This is the time. Like, so I don't have any crazy theories for season 2, and also there's only three novellas about Sir. Like, so a lot of people are speculating they're gonna do a novella, a book. I mean, a season, a novella.
season, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have. Do you guys, Mark? Throw it right back to you. Do you have any theories or what season 2 can look like from Knights of the Seven Kingdom?
I think it's going to be more failure for Dunk. I think that you're going to see him again go through some struggles. He's going to get beat up again. There's going to be conflict again. Like you mentioned, the Targaryens are going to be looking for him to retrieve the prince. So I think that it's very much they'll be kind of fugitives. There'll be again conflict between Dunk and Egg because Dunk's going to realize that Egg lied to him, that he wasn't sanctioned to go with him. So it's about how these two are going to go through their conflicts and eventually become closer because they really are the best of friends. All the way to the point where Aegon does become king, and they're great friends. So it's going to show the trials and tribulations. I think it's going to focus a ton on their relationship again.
I got the look.
I do agree with you though, Mark, that we're
Sorry,
gonna get
guys.
a lot of. You're good. We're gonna get a lot of like, not necessarily Dunk ascending to. I don't think Dunk is going to be achieving anything spectacular.
Spectacular.
I
Like
think Dunk
big.
is going to be teaching Aegon how to be a good man, a good knight, a good squire,
Mm,
eventually a good king. And Dunk's accolades will come when Aegon has power. Because I don't think Dunk is going to rise to power, rise to prominence, because he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about glory. He doesn't care about honor in the way that a king would. He cares about honor in the way sense of, hey, that person's hurt. I better help them.
mm-hmm.
And so I think it's going to be teaching Egg how to be a better man, teaching Egg how to be a proper knight, and Dunk's accolades will come after Egg is in power.
I like that. That's a nice theory. I mean, not really a theory. I think that's actually what's going to happen, but I'm saying for season 2 anyway. I like that.
Mhm.
Do you guys have any final thoughts that you didn't get to get out that you wanted to share about this season before we head out of here? TJ, oh, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I want, the one thing I really wanted to point out is I like how they introduced dark-haired Targaryens, because it builds off of House of the Dragon, where you do have the strong children, all with dark hair, and it shows you that again, even years later, you have those bloodlines not necessarily pure and incestuous as they would like them to be. So I like that they built off of that, and it's like, hey, that this, it really is still a little bit of a house divided, where oh, they're gonna think I did this on purpose. Well, you have one brother who doesn't look like a Targaryen, and the other who does. I like that even just little details like that are included in this story, which I thought was fantastic. And it was just something that I thought they did really well.
I think it makes extra sense to have that at this point of the story, too, where it's like you look at House of the Dragon. Well, who were the dark-haired Targaryens? They're the ones who weren't actually they were bastards. They were
Mm-hmm.
bastards. And even though they were as Targaryen as most, they just weren't incestuous. The reason why they were being so incestuous is because they wanted to keep their, they didn't know actually why they were the only ones that could control dragons, and they wanted to make sure that bloodline didn't get diluted. They wanted to make sure they still were able to control dragons. And so it does make sense that when you get to this point of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, none of these kids are actually born out of incest, and so that does make sense, including Baylor and Maekar. And so it does make sense that you get a few more of those brunettes in there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it just is nice because it's showing like they're not all bastards. Also, like they're not all assholes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just
When
works.
a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin.
TJ, any final thoughts that you had before we would get out of here?
No, just worth bringing up Sir Arwen's big, long penis a little bit more than we already have, because that thing was hanging.
They said,
then,
I forget. Somebody said online they don't know. I forgot who it was. Somebody in the cast that they weren't sure if it was actually him or they gave him a prosthetic because they thought that he just came to set one day like that. I thought that was insane. Insane.
my favorite pun on that is calling Sir Arwen the Long Night. With night spelt with a K. That was a really nice play on, this obviously final season episode. But last thing on kind of on that same note would be bold move starting this series off with just a big old diarrhea poop.
That was like that was what episode 1, right? Yeah, that was crazy.
That was like literally the start of the season, and so bold, but I like the penis humor is funnier to me than the poop humor, but just wanted to shout out both of those.
Nah, yeah, those were when we got the start of the poop, like you said, the pooping in the beginning of the first episode. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a comedy. I was like, immediately, I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. I could tell where they're going with this. Um, what I'm thinking about with with A Night of the Seven Kingdom is got at the end, we got it at the beginning of this year. We'll probably get it again next year sometime, hopefully, fingers crossed, because we're getting House of the Dragon season 3 in, is it June? I believe it is June coming. I think I actually have it listed.
Yeah,
What is
no,
it?
House of the Dragon
June.
season 3 is June.
It
I
is
think
June. All right.
I think their goal is basically going to be to
A
make
Game of
this the
Thrones
every
show a
year
year.
fall show, House of the Dragon probably the every 2 year uh
Oh, you think it'll
summer
be every
show.
2 year?
Well, was House of the Dragon season 2 last year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you
I
go.
think
Yeah,
it's gonna
maybe
be
they'll be able to do that then
I think they're gonna swap it
every
every year.
every
Every
January, every June. But yeah, I do think Night of the Seven Kingdoms, like, it's low budget. If I'm not mistaken, they're already filming season 2. Like, I think that's going to be a very quick turnaround for this one. Like, as long as they're going to have as long as the novellas are churned out, I think we're going to get a lot of these seasons really quick.
Yep, we got the House of the Dragon season 3 coming in June. You guys have seen the trailer already?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't, because I
No?
haven't seen season 2 yet. I'm waiting.
Okay. So don't want to do any season 3 theories and because TJ hasn't seen season 2. But when you are finished with season 2 and season 3 comes back, I will have both of you guys to talk about some more Game of Thrones. I appreciate you both for coming. TJ, let the good people know where to find you and all your stuff and what Agents of Fandom has coming soon.
TJ is Warwich _5. TJ, yeah, TJ is Warwich _ is it TJ _ Warwich 5? Yeah, TJ _ Warwich 5. I don't remember. I don't care if you follow me. Follow the Agents of Fandom at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter. Agents of Fandom everywhere else. It could not be a better and more fun time to, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on the podcast feed. We are talking right now on a Sunday. Monday, we are dropping our interview with Janet Varney, aka Avatar Korra herself. We talked for over an hour. We had such a good conversation. She is so incredible. That drops Monday. While that is dropping on Monday, I'm going to be in New York City talking to Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, as well as showrunner and executive producer Dario Scardapan and Sana Amanat for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. We are talking Paradise on the podcast every Tuesday. We are going to be talking Daredevil Born Again as soon as the new season drops. We are going to be talking Invincible Season 4 as soon as that drops in a couple weeks here as well. Plus, we got Project Hail Mary coming up, which we will be talking about on the podcast as well. Reviews for all of these will be up on agentsoffandom.com. Plus, we will be talking about them all in depth on the podcast and YouTube channel as well. So make sure you check it all out.
Got a lot of stuff going on at the Ages of Fandom. I think this is like one of, as long as I've been with you guys, this might be like the peak I've seen of things going on. So you guys got to make sure to tap in at Ages of Fandom. Mark, where the good people can find you at on your socials, man, and let them know what you got going on.
So I am primarily on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, at Mark Pacelli 13. That is PISELLI. I'm usually a mixed bag on there. I'm usually talking sports. I'm talking movies. I'm very very approachable on social, so always feel free to engage with me.
Don't forget about food.
What's that?
Don't forget about food.
I do offer quite a bit of food takes as well.
If there's a crazy new flavor of something, Mark will try it out and he'll post about it for everyone to know if they should try the crazy flavor as well. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I try things so you don't have to.
That's a great way to put it. There you go. Yeah, man, you guys know where to find us here at the Journey Across Media podcast. If this is your first time tapping in, thank you for tapping in. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you vibe with us, subscribe with us. I stole that from Dennis. But, man, just hang out with us, man. To find me, I'm at Jam Session on all socials. Just replace the E with an X. You'll see the little birdie with a fitted cap, like he is a pigeon from New York. Other than that, this has been, again, season 2, episode 19. We got to have something special going on for episode 20 season 3, start of season 3. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe we'll have finally put some background so I don't always got to change. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But until next time, I appreciate you both for coming. Y'all be easy. Peace.